So, which teams did you love out of the draft?
Which teams did I love? So
It's a lot of teams, though, isn't it? That's the thing. I
yeah,
love a lot of teams, and I don't hate a lot of teams.
I've got to say, and yeah, I'm probably a homer, but I actually loved the approach of the draft from the 49ers because yes, everyone's screaming that offensive line, Trent Williams is getting older. And I've always said this offensive line is fairly average. Like a lot of it is to do with Shanahan's scheme. But you just look at how many players the 49ers lost on defense and you had to replenish. And so and you look at the success of the 49ers in the last however many years with Shanahan and Lynch. What has been the driving force for their success? It's defense. It's defensive line. It's front seven play. So to take Michael Williams, that's our first ever Georgia player drafted. Again, he's only 2021. He's a big, long guy, right? He's not even reached his full physical potential. And if you watch him like in college, he's a different size to everyone else. So I think that's a pick with great potential. The other guy that I love the look of, like whether or not he's going to be a success or not, is the missile Nick Martin, the linebacker, who it's clear that they're viewing him as that kind of Dre Greenlaw position. So overall, and not to mention, there's one to watch. Let me see. Who have I got written down here? You've always got to watch this position with Shanahan. Jordan James, the running back from Oregon. I was watching him earlier today, and he's exactly what you'd expect from a Shanahan running back. He sees the hole, he hits the hole, no hesitation. And when he goes through that hole, he's not shying away from contact. Like he's embracing the contact, physical runner, and he's going to try and run you over if you get in the way. And he's a safety net in the passing game. He's not going to give you spectacular catches, but Purdy, if you need a check down, this guy's going to be there and yards after catch, the way the 49ers run. So for me, like, yeah, the first team I'd say won the draft. We're in we're in we're in April, but yeah, I think that's a solid approach by the 49ers. How about you?
Um, I like two of your division rivals um,
Ooh.
drafts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like the Seahawks draft. That the first three players that they took. So they took Zabel at guard, who was a tackle in college, and at the Senior Bowl was apparently just dominating everybody at guard when he played tackle at college. And then he even played some snaps at center. So they took, sorry, Dallas, they took the best guard in the first round, and they have a glaring need in the that interior offensive line. Then I know I love the player, but I'm gonna bring him up. They traded up in the second round to take the safety from South Carolina, Nick Emanwari, and I can say his name now. Yeah, he's just, and I get it. It's the game isn't played on measurables, but the measurables are just
He
absolute.
screams off the screen.
Ugh.
You know exactly what they're thinking there. Like they're thinking next gen Cam Chancellor.
Seattle defensive scheme with the head coach being from the Baltimore Ravens, who know a thing or two about playing secondary, and Kyle Hamilton was in that defense and was coached up by this head coach. And you look at, I think this kid's bigger than Kyle Hamilton.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think bigger, but Kyle Hamilton's a proven commodity. It's proven. But yeah, they took him. Size to play probably sub linebacker, and then speed to play in the back end, even covering receivers. Like he ran a 4.3, 40. So loved that. And then just the lottery pick that they gambled on with the quarterback on Milrow, because it could be incredible with Milrow, and he doesn't have to start. He doesn't have to play. So because they've got Darnold and they protected Darnold with that guard.
I
Um,
wonder if there'll be a package for him either way.
yeah, you've got to look at how athletic he is, and they should. I think they're missing a trick if they don't. So yeah, I love the Seahawks draft, and I and they get absolutely no press, and they will never, hardly ever get any press because of who they are and where they're geographically located and the division that they're in, overshadowed by everybody. But I loved the Cardinals draft. I loved taking, and you've got to look at the whole off season as the overall picture. So they've taken Josh Sweat in free agency from the Eagles. They've then followed it up with drafting Walter Nolan on the D line, which the Cowboys probably should have done, but they didn't. But and then they've got the best corner at least ranked pre-draft, and I
I mean,
get
if he's healthy,
yeah,
that's a steal.
yeah, exactly. And so overall, like they've improved their pass rush, and so you could look back and think the Cardinals have got after the quarterback, and now they've protected the back end with the best corner. And another one that I really liked was the Carolina Panthers,
Mm.
because they and it, look, when Carolina, like last year, when your receivers are Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen, like you need to draft a receiver. And they probably did overdraft slightly, but he was at least projected to be the best receiver heading into the draft, and they took him at 8.
Yeah.
Um, but and all the mock drafts are saying that they needed an edge rusher. Well, they went back in the second and third round and got 2 edge rushers that are pretty highly ranked. So yeah, I like the Panthers at least, and they've got the safety as well. They probably overpaid for the safety from the Raiders in free agency, but their defense is looking a lot better than what it was at the end of last year, and they finished last year strong. And let's face it, they're in a pretty poor division. So I think the Panthers have got a lot better, and the two teams, sorry to say, the two teams in your division, I think the Seahawks and Cardinals got a lot better in this draft.
And let's not forget the look what deal the Falcons made with the Rams.
Mm.
So Stafford is up there in age, and I'm someone that loves Stafford. I think Stafford is elite, like easily top 6, top 7 quarterback.
Yeah,
But what if he decides to walk away after this year? They
mm.
now have 2 first-round picks, again, like Cleveland, to move up if they need to.
Yeah,
But I think for the next one, I really like the draft of the other LA team, the LA Chargers. So they probably overdrafted at 20 for the running back Amari and Hampton. But when I think about what Jim Harbaugh football looks like, they've now got this 1-2 punch of Amari and Hampton and Najee Harris. Neither of them, if they get a clean hole, can take it to the house. You know, you're
yeah,
probably going to miss out on some touchdowns
yeah,
the way that a Saquon or a CMC would be able to hit the hole, they're gone, touchdown. But they are going to wear you down with their physicality. Like Amarian Hampton is, he is a bruising running back, but he's very good out the backfield from a passing point of view. So they've got their 1-2 punch. Now you're looking at receiver and you're saying, well, they hit on Lad McConkey last year, but you can't hang your hat fully on just Lad McConkey because really you want him coming out the slot. So I really love the pick they made at 55, I think it was, and it's my guy Trey Harris. This is from Ole Miss, the school that brought you DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. So just out of pure curiosity, take Trey Harris just in case. But they needed this outside guy. Like he's a big body physical receiver. It's almost like a perfect complement to Lad McConkey. They've got some other receivers who haven't stepped up yet, right? And they've brought back Mike Williams, who you never know what you're going to get from him and how healthy he can stay. But you look at this offense now.
He's still a player, potentially.
Yeah, forget what Aaron Rodgers said about him. You look at this offense now, and I say with Herbert, this is set up. This is nicely set up because you got Disley, the tight end, who Herbert loves. He clearly has chemistry with McConkey already. So if Trey Harris can be that guy, and he can take the top off, I'm not saying that he's Tyreek Hill, but he can take the top off. We've seen that with his connection with Jackson Dart in college. I love that pick. I like the Hampton pick, but I love the Trey Harris pick.
Yeah, I haven't paid any attention at all to the Chargers draft, but they're just one of those franchises that you trust that they're going to do the right thing. And Jim Harbaugh football, like you said, they've got two very good tackles. They've got a good offensive line. They know exactly what they're going to do, and they're just going to keep doing it. But the thing with the Chargers, like they just big picture, like Herbert had a bad game in the playoffs and they got knocked out. They're going to need Herbert. They're going to need something a little bit more, I think, than just running game to get to the next level. Like they can win 10, 11, 12 games maybe, but like to advance in the AFC playoffs, like against, your Josh Allens and Mahomes and Strouds, like you're going to need to, you might be down by 2 scores. You can't just like 3 yards, bang bang football constantly. You can when it's tired or you're ahead, but yeah, that's my big takeaway from the Chargers. But they do know who they are.
Yeah, and you look last year, it became Lad McConkey centric in the passing game. You knew that's the only guy that's really going to hurt us consistently. So with this pick of Trey Harris, if he can just give you that other consistent option, doesn't have to be a game breaker in year one, but just be a consistent option.
Yeah.
I think they are well set up. I'm worried about their defense because I say I'm worried. I mean, they've got Jim Harbaugh, so that side of the ball should take care of itself with just his defensive coaching. But I'd say that that's probably where they're going to look to next year. They're going to have to get younger and more athletic on the defensive side.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised in the Texans. So the Texans traded out of the first, and then from what I remember, they only took one offensive lineman in the first 3 rounds. And so they've got, at least what we think is that they've got a lot better at receiver. So I'm forgetting the name. I'm missing the name of the receiver that they took. But like you're thinking like the Texans could have like the 3 best receivers or at least the best trio of receivers.
Best trio, yeah.
Trio of receivers in the AFC, but it doesn't matter if Stroud can't get the ball out.
Which is what we saw last year.
Yeah, and they lost Tunsil. So, I don't know. Like
that's a big gamble to me. And the players made it known that when Tunsil was traded, they were not happy about that.
Yeah, I need to look that up actually, what the Texans did. But I know that they took a receiver that people love, and they didn't take any offensive linemen, or they at least only took one. And the Lions, interesting, right? The Lions traded 2 third-round picks next year to take a receiver called Tesla, but he doesn't want to be called Tesla. He's Tesla out of Arkansas. And so not a big program, doesn't have a lot of film on him because he didn't even play that many snaps, but he's got all the kind of the measurables to play receiver. And you're just looking at the Lions just like adding another piece, and he's not going to have to play or be like a huge part of the offense straight away. Just sit.
Exactly.
He can sit and wait behind St. Brown and Laporta and Jameson Williams, and you could sit back in like 2 years' time and think, damn, how did they get this player? Well, they made a trade ahead of time, similar to what we were saying with the Eagles, to stack the deck in their favor for the future with this guy Tesla on the Lions.